Is nuclear power the answer to Jamaica's energy needs? Now, a lot of people are a fan of nuclear. I myself am a bit more skeptical, but let's get into the details. So, Jamaica, along with Barbados and the Bahamas, have some of the highest electricity costs in the world. In fact, if we take a look at this chart, we can see that the Bahamas is ranked 4th, Barbados 14, and Jamaica 23rd. The Bahamas is paying more for electricity than industrial countries like Germany. Now, we know the reason for this, right? None of these islands are oil producing nation, and because they are islands, all of the oil has to be shipped to these countries, and that shipping costs money. Now, if we look at the cost of electricity and we correlate it with the cost of oil, we can see that they are highly correlated. Meaning, if I was to go down for a year, electricity costs would likely follow. If I was to go way down, electricity costs would likely follow. If I was to go way up, electricity costs will likely follow. Sorry. And then we can see it basically level out right here. Right? So the cost of electricity is highly correlated with the cost of oil. And this is one of the arguments used for nuclear. Not that it is a clean energy, but is the fact that it is not highly correlated with the cost of oil. So the cost would be more stable. Now, this is actually not always the case because the raw material used for nuclear power plants is uranium, and this is 2019 to now. And as you can see, there's been a massive increase in the cost of uranium. As a matter of fact, it's a 221% increase. If we contrast this back to the cost of oil, oil started out at 2019 around $70. It went down and then it went all the way up to 120, but has now leveled out to around $80. While this has just gone straight up. There was no coming down. Sure, there's been a few dips, but it has gone straight up. So this actually increased the cost of nuclear power production. Now, there are actual advantages to nuclear, one of which is the conversion efficiency. Only 30% of the gas is actually converted to energy when used, and 80% of it is converted when nuclear is used. So it is just a lot more efficient in converting to energy. And a little bit about how nuclear power works. I won't go into the nitty gritty details, but basically it produces the heat. The heat brings the water to a boiling temperature. Then that produces steam. That steam then turns a turbine, and it is the turning of that turbine that actually produces the energy. Now, this energy can be sent off to the grid, or you can store it in some kind of battery for use later. Now, my biggest problem with nuclear energy is the storage of the waste. You have to store it for about 300 years. Imagine 300 years where nothing can go wrong. No earthquake, no thunderstorm. I mean, sure, I could manage some thunderstorms, but let's imagine for a second a really bad hurricane pass through and maybe some poles fall down, an explosion happen. Like, all I'm saying is that 300 years is a long time to make sure that nothing goes wrong, because one big disaster can basically render an entire parish inhabitable. And this is my biggest problem with nuclear energy. We already have a giant nuclear reactor and it's in the sky. Yes, I'm talking about the sun. Solar is one of our best bet for a small island like Jamaica. Hydropower is also great, wind power is also great. Jamaica gets a lot of sun, it gets a lot of water, and it gets a lot of wind. A combination of these three is what I believe we need. And honestly, I think we could get our energy up to using up to, sorry, we could use, these three could produce up to 80% of what we need for energy. And I'll be releasing a video tomorrow talking about how we could realistically produce up to 80% of our energy needs using a combination of these three. So get subscribed. Thank you for the recent support and stay tuned for the next one.